On our anniversary, she tossed my handmade gift in the trash, saying, "I don't want this kind of junk." I didn't say a word. I simply retrieved it. The next day, she walked past a gallery and saw it displayed in the window, priced at $10,000. I watched her throw 3 months of my life into the kitchen trash can. The rich, dark walnut of the box I'd spent countless nights sanding to a glassy finish made a sickening dull thud against a bed of damp coffee grounds and discarded vegetable peels. She brushed her hands together with a brisk, dismissive motion, a gesture of finality, as if she were simply disposing of actual garbage and not a piece of my soul. Then she walked out of the room, her posture ramrod straight, leaving me alone in the silence. My name is David. I'm 37 and I'm a woodworker. I don't make furniture, not in the traditional sense. I create art pieces, intricate boxes with hidden mechanisms, small, abstract sculptures, decorative items that demand a second look. It's a slow, meticulous craft that requires patience and a skill set I've spent years honing. It doesn't make me wealthy, but it pays the bills, and more importantly, it's what I love. It's been 8 years since I walked away from a soul-crushing corporate job in marketing, and I haven't regretted that decision for a single day. I've been with Monica for 3 years. She's 34, a shark in the real estate world who consistently pulls in serious money, far more than I do most months. And she never ever let me forget it. It was never a direct, cruel insult. It was always couched in a joke or a casual comment, a little jab about her being the real breadwinner, or a sarcastic remark about how I got to play with wood all day while she did real work. I let it all slide. I told myself it was just her way, her high-stress job talking. Because when things between us were good, they were magnetic, incandescently good. The problem was, lately, the bad moments were starting to far outnumber the good ones. Yesterday was our 3rd anniversary. For the last 3 months, I had poured every spare moment I had, every ounce of creative energy left after my paid commissions, into her gift. It was a jewelry box, but calling it that feels like a disservice. This thing was a masterpiece, the culmination of everything I'd learned. The body was black walnut, and I'd spent over 80 hours on a delicate, flowing maple inlay that wrapped around the sides. The details were hand-carved, the dovetail joints so impossibly tight that they looked like a single seamless piece of wood. I'd engineered secret compartments that opened with a hidden press, and tiny, powerful magnetic catches that clicked the lid shut with a deeply satisfying precision. It was the kind of project that consumes you, that lives in your head for hundreds of hours demanding perfection. I gave it to her at home. I'd made her favorite meal, a complex risotto that required constant attention, and set the table with candles. The whole romantic scene. She opened the carefully wrapped package and just stared at it. Her face was a perfect blank canvas. No smile, no glimmer of surprise, nothing. Her eyes, which could light up a room when she was happy, were flat and unreadable. "What is it?" she finally asked, her tone neutral. "It's a jewelry box," I said, my own excitement starting to curdle in my stomach. "For your collection. I thought you'd like something special to keep everything in. Something just for you." Her collection was substantial, full of expensive, designer pieces she bought to mark her professional victories. I thought she'd appreciate a handmade, personal place to store them. She set the box down on the tablecloth and looked at me. "Oh, I thought you were getting me that bracelet I showed you last month." The bracelet. The one from Tiffany & Company. It cost $4,000. "Monica, you know I can't afford that right now," I said softly. "Business has been a little slow." She picked up the box again, turning it over in her hands like an inspector looking for flaws in a cheap, mass-produced product. Her lip curled just slightly. "I don't want handmade junk, David." And with that, she stood up, walked into the kitchen and tossed it into the trash. I just sat there, the risotto growing cold on my plate, the candle flames flickering in the heavy silence. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just tried to process it. 3 months of my focus, my passion, my skill was now sitting in a bin with eggshells and onion skins because it didn't come in a little blue box. I finally pushed my chair back, walked into the kitchen and fished the box out. A smear of coffee grounds clung to one of the inlaid corners. I carefully wiped it clean with my thumb. From the bedroom, I could hear her voice, bright and animated. She was on the phone with her best friend, Tara. And then I heard it, a sharp, dismissive laugh. "Can you believe it? He tried to pass off some handmade junk as a real gift." A cold, quiet clarity washed over me. I took the box, wrapped it gently in a sheet of bubble wrap I kept in my workshop, and carried it out to my truck, placing it on the passenger seat. When I came back inside, she was still on the phone, recounting her profound disappointment. "I'm going out for a bit," I said. She waved a hand at me, not even bothering to look up. I drove downtown to Hendrick's Gallery. Patricia, the owner, had become a friend over the last couple of years. I'd sold a few smaller pieces through her shop, and she was always nudging me to bring in more inventory. We had a standard consignment agreement in place. A fair 50-50 split. She was just locking the front door for the night when I pulled up, but she saw my truck and waited. She unlocked the door and let me in, her expression curious. I unwrapped the box and set it on her main counter, directly under the bright, unforgiving gallery lights. She put on her reading glasses and picked it up with a practiced, gentle touch. For what felt like an eternity, she didn't say a word. She just examined every single detail, her fingertips tracing the lines of the inlay, her sharp eyes inspecting the perfection of the joints. She opened and closed the lid several times, listening to the quiet click of the magnets. She found the hidden compartments without any prompting. Finally, she looked at me over the rim of her glasses. "David," she said, her voice filled with a kind of reverence, "where on earth have you been hiding this level of work?" "I've been doing it all along," I told her, my own voice sounding hollow. "You've just never seen my best pieces. It was supposed to be a gift. It didn't work out." Her eyes softened with understanding. "Is it for sale?" "It is now," I said. She set it down carefully on a velvet cloth and took a step back. "I need to do some research, but my gut is screaming at me. This is gallery quality. Real gallery quality. The craftsmanship, the inlay work alone, it's museum grade. I know a few collectors who specialize in fine woodwork. They would lose their minds over this." She paused, looking at my stunned expression. "I think I could sell this for $8,000 to $10,000. Maybe more if we find the right buyer." I must have swayed on my feet, because she gestured for me to sit down. She explained that this kind of artistry was incredibly rare in a world of mass production. She wanted to have it professionally photographed and appraised, then display it in the front window. I just nodded, telling her to do whatever she thought was best. We updated our consignment agreement, and I drove home feeling something I hadn't felt in months. It wasn't anger or sadness. It was the sharp, clean feeling of a fog lifting. Monica was already in bed when I got back, either asleep or pretending to be. It didn't matter. I slept in the spare room. The next morning, I was up at dawn and in my workshop, the familiar scent of sawdust a comforting balm. Monica left for work around 8, her car pulling out of the driveway without a word between us. For the next 2 days, Patricia worked her magic. She had an independent appraiser come in, a stern-looking man who confirmed her assessment, valuing it between $8,000 and $12,000. She decided to list it at $10,500. On Thursday, just 3 days after that disastrous anniversary dinner, she called. The box was now the centerpiece of her front window display, perfectly lit, its price tag discreet but visible. "I've already had 2 serious inquiries, David," she said, her voice buzzing with excitement. I went back to work trying to push it from my mind. That lasted until Friday afternoon when my phone, sitting on my workbench, began to vibrate incessantly. 8 missed calls from Monica. 15 texts, each more frantic than the last. She'd seen it. Her real estate office was only 2 blocks from the gallery. She must have walked past on her lunch break and recognized the distinctive inlay pattern instantly. What the hell is my trash art doing in a gallery? Why does it say $10,500? This is a mistake. Call me right now. I didn't call. I typed out a single simple reply. The handmade junk found a home with someone who appreciates craftsmanship. Then I muted her notifications and finished my day. She was waiting for me in the driveway, her expensive sedan idling impatiently. She got out the second I pulled up, her face a blotchy, furious red. "Is that really your box?" she demanded before I'd even opened my truck door. "Is someone actually going to pay $10,000 for it?" "It was properly appraised," I said calmly. "That's the market value for that level of work. Patricia has interested buyers." Her entire demeanor shifted in a heartbeat. The rage evaporated, replaced by an expression I knew all too well, calculation. Her voice dropped, becoming silky and conciliatory. David, we need to talk. Maybe I overreacted. It's a beautiful box. I can see that now. I've just been so stressed about work. I took it out on you. I am so sorry. I looked her straight in the eye. Are you sorry you threw it in the trash? Or are you sorry it's worth $10,000? She flinched. That's not fair. I really do feel terrible. And, anyway, we've been together for 3 years. I should get something from the sale, right? We could use it for that trip to Italy. Or I could finally get that bracelet. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. No. The money is mine. It's from my work, my skill, my time. I'm paying off my truck and investing in a new lathe for the workshop. None of it is going toward jewelry for someone who literally threw my heart in the garbage. That's when the real Monica resurfaced. You're being petty. You're vindictive. You should have told me it was valuable. How was I supposed to know? The value was never the point. I finally snapped, my voice rising. I didn't make it to sell it. I made it for you because I loved you, because I wanted to give you something no one else in the world had. You threw it away because it didn't have a brand name. That told me everything I need to know about how you see my work, and how you see me. Her face crumpled and the tears started. Real or fake, I couldn't tell. I messed up, I know I did. But we can work through this. 3 years means something. I love you. I held up a hand. When did you start loving me, Monica? Before or after you found out my junk was worth 10 grand? She had no answer. She just glared at me, got in her car and peeled out of the driveway, leaving a strip of rubber on the asphalt. I went inside and made dinner for one. The silence in the house was a relief. On Monday, Patricia called. The collector, a well-known name in the art community, had made a cash offer of $10,000, even. I told her to take it. By Thursday morning, $5,000 was in my bank account. The first thing I did was pay off the remaining $3,000 on my truck. Felt like severing a chain. The other $2,000 went into a savings account earmarked for a new lathe. That same afternoon, Monica let herself into the house with her key. She stood in the kitchen and announced that she thought we needed to take a break, to evaluate what we both wanted. I just nodded. That's probably smart. Her jaw dropped. She clearly expected me to beg. You're not even going to fight for this relationship? Fight for what? I asked, genuinely curious. I spent 3 months fighting. I poured hundreds of hours into creating something for you. You threw it in the trash and laughed about it. That ship didn't just sail, Monica. It hit an iceberg and sank. The weeks that followed were a blur of positive change. Richard, the collector who bought the box, commissioned a new piece for $12,000. That single commission opened a floodgate. Patricia put together a professional portfolio for me, and suddenly galleries in Denver and Portland were calling. My career, which had always been a steady but modest stream, was turning into a river. About 3 weeks after our final fight, Monica's friend Tara called me. She said Monica was a mess, that she'd made a huge mistake and wanted to apologize. I asked Tara one simple question. Would she be this desperate to apologize if the box had sold for $50? There was a long telling silence. Then Tara admitted that Monica couldn't stop talking about the money, about my newfound talent, and about the commissions rolling in. I thanked her for her honesty. 4 weeks after the breakup, Monica showed up at my workshop unannounced. She saw the new complex piece I was building for Richard, the expensive lumber, the detailed plans. Her eyes went wide. Is this another commission? She asked. When I told her the price, she started talking about how she understood now, how she could support my career, how she finally saw the value in what I did. I asked her the same question I'd asked Tara. Did she understand the value before the price tag or after? She started crying again, saying I couldn't just throw away 3 years. You threw away 3 months of my work without a second thought. I reminded her, my voice flat. I told her we were done and that she needed to leave. The relief I felt watching her car disappear down the street was absolute. 2 months later, a local arts magazine featured me in a big spread. The article talked about my journey from the corporate world to being an artisan, mentioning the gallery representation and the waiting list I now had for commission work. My phone exploded. My website crashed. Monica sent me a link to the article. The message contained a single word, wow. I didn't respond. The next time I saw her was at a restaurant. I was there with Patricia, closing a $15,000 deal with a new client. Monica was across the room with a younger guy in a suit. She cornered me in the hall later, telling me she was proud of me, that she still thought about us. I told her our relationship had taught me a valuable lesson. Not to ignore red flags and not to stay with someone who doesn't respect you. You taught me that lesson, I said. And for that, I'm grateful. The look on her face was one of complete devastation. For months after the breakup, I opened my own studio, a combination workshop and gallery. Patricia helped me set it all up. Opening night was a huge success. My parents, my sister, my real friends, they were all there. Through the big front window, I saw Monica standing on the sidewalk outside. She was dressed up, looking beautiful. She just stood there for 10 minutes, watching the crowd inside celebrate my success, a world she could no longer enter. Then she turned and walked away. That was 5 months ago. My business is thriving beyond my wildest dreams. And I've met someone. Her name is Rachel. She's a librarian who finds my work fascinating, not because of its price but because of the process. She came to my studio a few weeks ago and just watched me work, saying it was meditative. Before she left, I gave her a small simple bookmark I'd made from a scrap of bird's eye maple. Her eyes filled with tears. She said it was the most thoughtful gift she'd ever received. She carries it in her purse and shows it to people not because it's worth money, but because I made it just for her. That's the difference. That's what I was looking for all along. The jewelry box now resides in Richard's private collection. He uses it to store his late wife's jewelry. He says it reminds him of things built to last. 6 months after it all ended, Monica sent one final long email. An apology for everything. She said she'd been shallow and materialistic, that she understood now it was me she'd lost, not the money. She asked if I would meet her for coffee, no expectations. I read the email twice. Then I deleted it. Some things can't be fixed. She threw away something valuable because she couldn't see past the surface. The $10,000 price tag didn't create the value. It only illuminated the value that had been there all along. She just couldn't see it. But I can. And so can the people who matter. And that's more than enough. We hope to continue sharing such stories that help us all learn and grow together. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to keep an eye out for more stories coming soon. If you haven't already, please like and follow for more amazing content. Your support keeps us going, and we will strive to bring you more thought-provoking and heartwarming stories. Until next time, take care and stay curious. Asterisk.